Let's make a character head in Flash. First, what I want to do is create a new symbol, a movie clip, because we're going to have this movie clip contain all of the layers of the character head. So we can move the movie clip as one item. Remember, movie clips can be several layers, and movie clips can be movie clips embedded inside of each other. It's an important thing to know. Call this MC for movie clip _ Kermit. Now, if you could probably guess, I've decided to do Kermit the Frog. So get a good picture of the character that you want to work on and look at the different shapes that make up the character. And we're going to separate everything onto its own layer to make this easier. So I'm going to start with the head. For Kermit's head, we'll go for the oval tool. If you don't see the oval tool, it's probably under the rectangle tool. Just click on the rectangle tool, select oval. Make sure you have an outline selected. In this case, I have black for the outline and green as my fill. And then go ahead and we'll create a shape like that. Now that's not quite Kermit's shapes. For that, we're going to just have to change some of the objects. You can actually go to the sub-selection tool. It's the second arrow from the top on the toolbar. And we'll just click right on the object. And we'll see we have a lot of these vertices or sub-selection points. Now I'm going to get rid of some of them. I'm just going to select them and delete them. So I don't need all the ones. I'm going to just leave the main 4 in the corners. And then, if you notice, there's 3 different types of points. There's a corner point, which is curved on one side and straight on the other. There's a true curve, which is curved on both sides. And then there's just a single point, which doesn't have a curve on either side. We can actually change the types of points that we need. And just go, click and hold under the pen tool, and we're going to convert to anchor point tool. And what I want to do on the top is I'm going to click, and I'm just holding down my left mouse button and dragging out a little. I'm going to round out the top. I'm going to do the same for the bottom. And the top's a little too round, so I'm going to go back to the sub-selection tool, click on that, and then I'm going to just make it a little more pointy to be like Kermit's head. And then move it up. And you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard too if you want to move it up. And I'm going to adjust side vertices a little more, and I think that's a good head for Kermit. So I'm going to go ahead and lock this layer right here under the padlock. You can just click that little button. That's layer's locked, nothing I can do on it anymore. Next thing I'm going to do is create the mouth. Once again, please name your layers while you're building. It makes it a lot easier later on. For the mouth, I'm going to use the pen tool. So click on hold the convert anchor point, go back to the pen tool, and I'm just going to start in the corner, drag down a curve. Remember, for a curve, you click on the button and drag the mouse, and that will pull the curve out. If you just straight click, you'll get those hard corner points. And I'll just complete it like that. And if it doesn't close in at first, or actually it's filled with the green layer, I'm going to change the green fill to black and fill in his mouth. And once again, if it's not exactly right, you can always go into the sub-object tool and kind of move things around just to get everything set up correctly. I've got Kermit's mouth going there. Pretty happy with that. I can go back and always touch it up later. I'm going to lock the mouth layer now. Create a new layer. Remember, just click on this new layer icon at the bottom of your timeline. Well, the eyes are going to be kind of hard. And we're going to start with a round object. We'll fill it with white and a black outline. And if you look, Kermit's eyes are kind of like ping pong balls that are cut off at the bottom. So I'm going to try to replicate that by selecting the eye and just cutting off not quite the bottom half. Oops, let me try that again. Select just the bottom half, and then we're just going to delete that. And now I'll use the line tool right over here. And I'll just connect the bottom. that will be his eye. And once we have one eye done, actually I'm going to go do the pupil first. For the pupil, we're going to use a circle and we're going to turn off the outline. Just going to select that swatch with the bar through it. And draw out a little circle for the pupil. And now if you notice on Kermit's eyes, he's got some curved lines going into the pupil. So we need to create those too. I'm going to zoom in a little. Just drop down and kind of get closer so I can work with it better. And once again, I'm going to go back to the pen tool. This time on the properties of the pen tool, I need to make my stroke really thick. I'm going to make it like 8 pixels. And what I'll do is just click and draw part of that. Now I'm going to turn off the line and turn it back on so I can start another line. On the other side, click. And once again, we can go to the sub-object level if we want to basically make this a little smaller. And there I've got eyes that I like, good Kermit eyes. Now I'll just move them into position. Notice they're a little big right now. So we can just use the free transform tool. And move his eyes into position. Once again, you can use your keyboard to, the directional keys, to position him. Finally, I'm going to select the whole eye. And we'll edit and duplicate. So we have it to the other side of the head. Last thing you need to do is drag the eye into place. And we'll use the free transform tool once again to kind of rotate it just a little bit on the head. And if I want my eyes a little bigger, I can once again just select them and the free transform tool, make them a little bit bigger. Finally, we want to get the neck. And the neck will go back to our original green at first. So I'm going to just take the eyedropper, sample that color, back to the pen tool, and I'm going to just draw out a curved neck, kind of like that. And fill it. We can drag that layer behind the head. And the big thing with Kermit is he's got that big collar on his neck too. So one more layer. Back, if I notice this collar's a little lighter shade of green, so I'm going to pick a little lighter, kind of a more yellow green to make that collar. We can go one lighter on that, and our good old pen tool once again, and we'll just click. We're just clicking, moving, and then clicking again. And of course, I probably want to cover the bottom of the neck, so I can move that collar around. Once again, it's always nice. You can just lock off all the other layers, kind of move around the layer that you're working with. And I can also turn the collar off, switch the neck. Grab the neck layer and maybe make that a little smaller, bigger. However we want to make it so that Kermit looks right. And of course you'll have a lot of other adjustments that you can make with this too. Once you have your object completed, go back to scene 1. And in scene 1, you won't see anything anymore because remember, we created it in a movie clip. The movie clip will be in the library. So now we can just drag that out into scene 1. And we'll just want to go a certain number of frames down scene 1. Right click right in that layer, like on frame 40, I'm going to right click, and in the pop-up menu, insert frame. Now you can go ahead and right click on frame 1 and create motion tween. With the motion tween, you just move your frame, move your object, and it's going to kind of fill out all the in-betweens for you. Control and Enter key will test it out, and then you have your moving character head.